Miss you so much.
Andy Serkis and Venom literally became voices inside of Tom Hardy's ear on set for Venom: Let There Be Carnage. From Serkis imitating Venom on set to orchestrating 650 extras during the rave scene, filming of the second Venom movie was seriously intense.
Then evolves into a physical altercation.
Carnage grabbing is one of the most epic scenes, and behind the scenes was no different. Rigged up with wires and harnesses, all the motions were mimicked, and the actor was spun about in the air, and when it was time for CGI to work its magic, effects took over and filled in where Carnage should be. To help bring the right vibes on set, a large claw was also around to help block where the CGI would appear. When Eddie and Venom begin their major brawl, the apartment becomes absolute chaos, with furniture and objects flying everywhere. This was actually all captured live on set. The creative team had their work cut out for them as they tied up all the objects that got thrown,
which literally flew out of the window,
with string in order to achieve the effects we see in the film. As for Hardy's stunt double, Jacob Tomuri was rigged up to harnesses and literally smashed around into furniture. Andy Serkis has so much experience working with CGI characters and as an actor himself that he couldn't help but jump in on occasion and direct Tom Hardy while performing Hardy's parts himself.
Oh, I did actually.
Getting into the character's head as the director was an important aspect for Serkis because Venom's dialogue was constantly changing. So, the actor-director duo could riff off each other and find new lines.
At this point, Andy comes out with some very good Venom impressions.
The team had to make sure they filmed all the options they might need before the movie went into the editing stage, so they could have enough material to play with. What didn't make the final cut were the many, sometimes questionable, Venom impressions behind the scenes.
You have a stoic
Right, mine's a little bit more stoic, yes.
The rave scene in Venom: Let There Be Carnage is incredible with all the lights, puppets, and action, and pulling it off was a pretty exciting feat. The scene was written into the script, but pretty loosely, so director Andy Serkis was able to go into filming with an open mind and play around with the actors and creative team. With a whopping 650 extras on set, the energy was high and definitely helped with the flow of the sequence immensely. The environment was made to be pretty remarkable with the giant puppets brought in and extensive colorful lights. It was definitely easy for the actors to imagine and perform a major party.
It was always going to be a kind of carnival, Day of the Damned, or Night of the Damned sort of festival.
Tom Hardy gave his all no matter whether the cameras were rolling or they were just rehearsing a scene. When he had to perform his big apartment fight as Eddie Brock against Venom, Hardy often vocalized any injury pretty intensely.
He'd literally go, ah!
Even though Hardy obviously wasn't battling him in person, the actor would react and make sounds as if he were hit, totally convincing he's been in an actual fight. The voice of Venom was always in Tom Hardy's head. Quite literally. Since the actor was performing his scenes opposite Venom alone, before getting to set, Hardy recorded every single one of the lines and then using earbuds, listened to all of Venom's dialogue as they came and he could respond in real time. This meant the actor also felt able to improvise, talking over Venom and really bringing magic to the scene. With the help of this sneaky trick, Hardy was able to differentiate and really give a life to both characters. In some cases, the sound team would record his lines in the morning and then when filming, play them back so he could perform that way. We have a feeling these scenes made a lot more sense for the team watching when it wasn't just Tom Hardy hearing Venom. Andy Serkis was pretty creative and hands-on when directing the second Venom film, going so far as to become a little voice in lead actor Tom Hardy's head. Since the actor already had an earpiece tucked away so he could hear Venom's lines, Serkis would occasionally pop onto the mic and give him directions live during the middle of scenes. This meant at any time, Hardy could suddenly get blocking directions while performing. The fact that he excelled in this is just a testament to how gifted a performer he is. By the time the Venom: Let There Be Carnage team finished filming the apartment battle, it looked like a tornado had come through. While they could have used CGI to show how destroyed the apartment gets, a combination of the editing and practical effects were used to help authentically portray the wild sequence.
We wanted to literally physically smash that place up.
At one point, Venom's tongue was played by a green foam bat.
And chickens get thrown about, which aren't real chickens.
Those chickens we see in the kitchen with Eddie Brock and Venom, those are real. Except for the ones that get injured, that is. Not to worry, no birds were harmed in the making. While it's definitely easier to manage and handle CGI birds as opposed to the real thing, the team lucked out with their surprisingly unfussy, unmessy, and very professional chickens.
They're perfect chickens to work with.
While Tom Hardy did perform a ton of his own stunts and fights in the film, he did have a stunt double who stepped in to take over when a scene was too dangerous or could injure Hardy in the process. The Eddie Venom actor was particularly at risk since he'd had 2 knee operations only 8 weeks before filming. This meant Jacob Tomuri took the reins when Eddie needed to be thrown through a wall or leaping through windows. Before filming even began, Jacob Tomuri would often check in with Hardy to see what his weight was at so he could try to match the physique when he had to double him on screen. Since he couldn't match Hardy's physicality completely, Tomuri actually wears what's called a trap suit, which is essentially muscle padding for his shoulders. Let's just say very few people were fans of Woody Harrelson's wig in the first Venom, including Woody Harrelson. The red really was just a strange choice. Thankfully, it was out with the old, and he was given a new, less intensely colored wig that worked out much better in this film. Every detail had to be thought of to ensure the CGI in the film came across as realistically as possible when bringing Venom to the screen. Details like the colors Tom Hardy wore made a big impact. In this lighting, we can see that Hardy's burnt orange bathrobe looks quite dark, offering the perfect space for Venom to emerge from.
And so, in fact, that affects costume even, choices of costume colour.
Without attention being paid to these seemingly insignificant details, we wouldn't get the incredible visuals we see in the final cut. When it came to the motorcycle scenes, Hardy performed some of the moments, but when the requirements became too risky, a stunt specialist with precision riding skills took over the speedy scenes. All of this was performed on an upgrade of what Eddie rode in the first Venom film. He's still on a Ducati, but a Ducati Panigale, also known as a superbike, is his ride of choice in this movie. The original bike was specifically chosen for its more rugged look and because of how it could perform certain stunts. Not a detail gets overlooked with this crew. It's no wonder Tom Hardy tells the story as Eddie and Venom so well since he actually had a part in writing it. This is the actor's first writing credit, and the whole process definitely helped him with getting into his character and understanding how to portray the scenes.
So it's just making up stories really and problem solving.
Venom is a film with tons of passion, humor, and special effects, all of which comes together to bring us yet another fantastic film about this anti-hero. We are seriously impressed with just how innovative the creative team was.